I don't understand Yoruba, I cannot speak it.
With so much controversy surrounding the Labour Party governorship candidate, Gbadebo Rhodes Vival or Vival Rhodes, he has been called an Igbo boy, an Igbo man. He has been called a Southeasterner. And some people are even saying that he's sympathetic to IPOB Biafra and that he has said it several times or shown characteristics of Ojukwu, in quote, the secessionist who led Nigeria into civil war, in quote. I'm putting all of that in quote. They said he's sympathetic to him and theories of Ojukwu is what he believes in. And they said Lagos State will not be given out, ceded to Igbo people. They said what happened during the presidential election, I'm talking about the votes, where we saw Labour Party keeping a huge chunk or biting a huge chunk of the votes in Lagos State. They said this is not going to happen, that an Igbo man will not be allowed. In fact, they said his name is not just Gbadebo. Of course, he has a Yoruba father from what we know. He has a Yoruba father and Igbo mother, married to an Igbo lady. He said he is the embodiment of what cosmopolitan Lagos State should be or is. And he said he has a right and he will be the governor of Lagos State. The fear now is how Labour Party somehow, because of Peter Obi, have overtaken, hijacked a lot of people's thoughts, mind. Anything that comes from Labour Party, people are just ready to embrace it without checking facts and figures to find out. They are not ready to investigate anything. They feel that APC and PDP is the corruption or the wickedness that they do not want to be around. Well, as it is right now, they said that Gbadebo is not Gbadebo, that his name is Chukwuma Chukwudi. They said he wants to hijack Lagos for Igbo people and he wants to do all of this and that. But what is the father of this young man saying? I want you to stay put on this channel because we are going to listen to what his father said about him. Of course, there is no talk about who the man is. He's a Yoruba man domiciled in Lagos. And we are going to find out from Gbadebo himself, what is his opinion? What are his thoughts about this whole, narrative of Igbo people want to take over Lagos? Let us get right into it. Don't forget to like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're new here. Like and share. This is the way to help this channel. Now, of course, you will be helping a lot of people as YouTube will, notify them and also share the videos to them. Let us get into it.
So, I want to speak a little bit about Gbadebo, his my son. I know that definitely I'm biased, but I will stay with facts. I'm not talking about opinions, facts. Gbadebo is not a politician. He's an activist. That is his core, that is the core character of Gbadebo. When he came out after school, he was leading marches to the legislature. He was debating with the Minister of Agriculture. And this was the GMO thing. You see, the thing with an activist is that the activist is revolted by injustice, by anything that's unfair. Immediately he reacts and he begins to lead processions and marches and goes on TV, and so that was Gbadebo for you. So Gbadebo at heart is somebody that is just good. It's as simple as that. He's just a good man because he will react to anything negative.
Now, this definitely is what a father will say about his son, and he's not going to say anything negative anyway. Your son is pursuing that particular, position that is beneficial. Being a governor of a state, that's not a small thing. Of course, it's a step towards great progress, and this will put that surname of that family on the forefront. It will not be forgotten anytime. And you don't expect his father to say anything negative. But what does this man represent? Who is he? Let us hear from him talking about his heritage. He called it primordial. He said there are some talks about where he's from, who his parents are, his heritage. He has issues with this.
They are primordial, but then they are the people's feelings. Some of the concerns are that you don't speak the language. You are from Lagos truly, but your mother is Igbo. How do you hope to, should you win, unify Lagos, being a cosmopolitan state of many people coming together from, different parts of the country?
Yes, first of all, I am the epitome of a cosmopolitan Lagos. I represent it, I embody it. I see what brings us together as opposed to what takes us apart. And let us know, see, Lagos State has been in harmony for a very long time. What happens is politicians come and try to divide us. And I always say to people, let us be wary of a politician or politicians that only remember that they are Yoruba when it's time for politics. When Fulani herdsmen were making incursions into Oyo and into different parts of the southwest, and people like Sunday Igboho stood up, people like Rotimi Akeredolu stood up. A lot of the politicians in Lagos were quiet. They played politics with it. They were quiet. When it was time for Amotekun, they were quiet. So many interests of the Yoruba people, they were quiet because they wanted an alliance with the North, right? So they put their political interests above the interests of their people. And then all of a sudden, it's time for politics, and they remind you that this person does not speak Yoruba, this person. With the Yoruba that they've been speaking, when they fired at young people at Lekki Toll Gate, did they separate the Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa? All the Agberos on the streets that are wasting their lives, young men that are getting on drugs and have been multiplying for years, do they go and meet the ones that are Yoruba and tell them, come, we'll give you rehabilitation, or we're going to get you off the streets, we're going to ensure that you're a more productive member of society?
Are you implying that the politicians fired at the protesters
I will say from what the army has said, Governor Sanwo-Olu invited them in and gave the order.
But he's been clearing that time and again. I imagine you caught the interview.
I mean, and then what the army said during the hearing completely goes against what he said. And you're a CSO of a state, right? If you did not give an order and somebody just comes and is shooting like a cowboy, you should be on ground. As a leader of the state, you should say, you cannot shoot at my people. If you have to shoot at me to get to me, to get to the people.
So you believe, even though time and again the governor has said, well, I didn't give the order in different ways, you believe that he still gave the order, and understanding how governance works, how the chain of command, not even with the police, with the military, you still believe?
I don't believe that a military setup will come and start shooting at people without carrying the governor along. It's not possible.
So
except it was a coup.
Order.
I believe that. And I also believe that he saw the bodies. I believe that he was at Reddington Hospital. I believe that he saw the bodies. And there's a lot of evidence on this. So all this gaslighting that they've been doing, we're just watching them. Because it's the same thing as they're telling us that the election was won by 10,000. When we know that they took out almost 50,000 votes in Alimosho and 20,000 votes in Ikeja. There's a lot of gaslighting, politics, and tokenism that is a hallmark of the APC government.
So, but without losing sight, of the thrust of the conversation.
Controversies. We're talking about controversies.
You've contested under the COA party before.
Yes.
You've contested under the PDP before.
Yes.
And, your parentage didn't come up. Why do you think it's coming up now?
Well, because they are threatened. And the governor had several opportunities to come and give account of his stewardship of Lagos State in several debates, and he dodged all of them. And now he's seeing that the people are no longer just, I've always said my work in the last 5-6 years is to bring an entirely new voter demographic to the ballot. And this new demographic is interested in accountability. They're interested in you expressing your vision and giving account of what you've been giving, what you've done with the resources available to you. And they've seen that. Now, unfortunately, the whole argument is without substance. So they have to resort to primordial sentiment. And this is standard. When you don't really have much to offer, you try to divide people based on tribes and primordial leanings.
But if you plan to unify, Lagos, do you feel conflicted, or do you feel that you'll be unable to, since you don't speak the language?
Not at all. Lagos is a cosmopolitan state. And the fact of the matter is not as as though I don't understand Yoruba or I cannot speak it. My intonations are funny. People laugh at me, and I don't think in Yoruba, right? I went to school at MIT, I went to school in Nottingham, I went to school in France, I went to school. So there's been a lot of movements in my life, right? But that does not change the fact that, listen, everybody at the end of the day wants good governance.
At the end of the day, people want good governance. That is true. But there is also something called self-preservation. And what does that mean? Simply put, people who are indigenous to a particular place, it could be a village, a town, a city, a country, or a state like Lagos State, where we have Yorubas, they are indigenous to Lagos State. And we've often heard narratives such as Lagos is no man's land. And you'll be kind of wondering what that means. And the people who are often, the people who are really into this narrative are from the southeast of Nigeria, where it is difficult to get a C of O. You cannot get a C of O easily in the southeast of Nigeria. Even if land is sold to you, they will never give you certificate of occupancy. And this they get in the north, they get in the southwest of Nigeria. That is why people are beginning to think about self-preservation. Even if we want good governance, we want it to come from someone who has no attachment to our fears. And what is the fear? We do not want Igbos. We've given them so much, and we have started seeing that they want to overtake and dominate. This is what they do. Once you give them space, they want to overtake. But Gbadebo is a Yoruba man. Gbadebo is a Yoruba man. Having Igbo mother, of course, he has been influenced by that because he said it himself. He said, when I speak Yoruba, people laugh because my intonations are not. That simply put, it means that Gbadebo spent more time with his mother. He didn't spend time with his father. That is just what it is. I'm kind of thinking about a family that is polygamous. That is where Gbadebo came from, or probably parents separated. But I want to think more in line of this very big family, polygamous family. Mother take care of their children. What the father does is just to take care of their education, pay for this big party. They all come together as families, and everyone attaches himself or herself to their mother. And this is where this issue, and I think people should begin to learn from this. Saying this is a metropolitan, cosmopolitan Lagos does not end there. People want someone who speaks the language. It doesn't matter how cosmopolitan. Do not forget that the extras or the people who have attached themselves to Lagos are not indigenous to Lagos. If you are born in Lagos, does not make you a Lagosian. You have to have your heritage dug deeper than just we arrive from Anambra, or we arrive from Imo, or we arrive from Inewi, we arrive from this and that. Even in Yoruba land, they said, well, even if they are saying that Sanwo-Olu is not a Yoruba man, from Lagos State, if they are saying it, they say he's still a Yoruba man. We want a full-blooded Yoruba man, not someone who cannot even speak the language. If Gbadebo had that ability to speak Yoruba language fluently, he will not be having this. He will simply respond to whoever tells him whatever in Yoruba and say, I am a Yoruba man, my name is Gbadebo, and I am a Yoruba man all through. This is what I believe in. This is what I want. I want good governance. But let us see, because right now it seems there is a lot that is going to happen. And we also saw Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu coming out to talk about the answers, and you heard Gbadebo also talking about it. He said the buck is supposed to stop at the desk of the governor. You are the chief security officer, but we know things don't work that way. When you talk about lawlessness, it happens among themselves too. The president can override. The president can do whatever it is. Saying that if you are going to come to my state, it has to pass through you. That is activism that the father talked about. But Gbadebo tweeted. And when he tweeted, he had to take it down. Why? He said his advisors, the people he works with, advised him and told him, you have to present yourself as a governor. What does that mean? You have to be a politician. Little by little, that thing that you stand for begins to drain out of you. You begin to lose it, and you begin to be a politician. You speak from two sides of your mouth. Do you understand? We have to be very careful instead of just rushing and pushing. This young man has shown a sign, or has begun to show sign of how he can bow when what is into or what he wants to achieve is being threatened. They have advised him. So what if he gets wrong advice? They say you have to be neutral. Well, Sanwo-Olu was also neutral during the EndSARS. He can't say I'm the one, and he can't mention names until now. Same thing, Gbadebo removed the tweet. You see, we need to understand the complexity of how these things work. We are all human beings. But then, at the end of the day, he's right. He said, we need good governance. We need good life, quality life. And that's the truth. But still, we'll see how all of these things will balance out to be. Gbadebo is a Yoruba man. Yeah, that is it. He's a Yoruba man. Or are we going to call him, is there a name? Because in the southeast of Nigeria, if your mother is from another part or your father or somehow in between, there is a name they give to you. They don't really accept you as a full blood. That's just what it is. They will always remind you that your mother is a Yoruba or Hausa or Fulani. They will always remind you that your mother is from other part. It's the truth. That's the truth and the reality of it. Well, let us see how Gbadebo will kind of pass through all of this and go through it, if he will eventually become the governor of Lagos State or not. That is left for March 18th. That's the date that INEC, they said March 18th. We'll find out that day, probably in a couple of days or more, like it did for the presidential election. We'll find out who won the election. What are your thoughts about this one? Let us put that in the comment section below. Do not forget to like and share this video. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you're new here.